On March 2026, Megan Fox broke nearly a year of Instagram silence, not with a film announcement, but with a set of pantless thirst traps. It got millions of likes, MGK popping in the comments. And that right there is the pattern, because 4 years earlier, this same woman had the best reviews of her entire career, a 90% certified fresh thriller that critics called her career best performance, a cultural reassessment that turned her from Hollywood punchline to feminist cautionary tale. The public decided they owed her an apology, and the door to a real comeback was wide open. She had sympathy, proof she could act, and a cultural moment that was practically begging her to step back into the spotlight. Instead, she lit it on fire again.
Megan, what is it like working with the director Michael Bay, who from all accounts appears to be insane?
Yeah, well, he's infamous for being a sort of tyrant, I guess, on set. But the first time I ever worked with him, actually, I had just turned 15.
In 2007, Transformers turned Megan Fox from an unknown into the biggest sex symbol of the late 2000s. The two films made over $1.5 billion combined, and Fox was only 20 when the first one came out. FHM named her the sexiest woman in the world. Maxim ranked her #1, and every magazine cover that existed had her face on it. She was everywhere. But by 2009, all of it was over because of a single interview. In a Wonderland magazine piece, Fox compared Michael Bay to Hitler on set. Even though the full quote included compliments, the comparison was the only part anyone printed, and the response was swift. An anonymous crew letter appeared on Bay's website calling her dumb as a rock and suggesting she consider a career in adult film. Two sources later told the Daily Beast that Bay himself had orchestrated the letter, though it was never confirmed. Either way, Fox was dropped from Transformers 3 and years later admitted the whole thing could have ended differently. All I had to do was apologize, and I refused, she told Cosmopolitan UK. I was so self-righteous at 23. I really thought I was Joan of Arc. And that refusal cost her a decade. Jonah Hex at 11%, Passion Play at 3%, and a string of obscurity that buried one of the most famous faces in Hollywood. Even when she reconciled with Bay by 2013, and he cast her in 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films, which made $738 million combined, she didn't parlay any of it into better roles or build a reputation beyond franchise eye candy. No indie pivot, no production company, no prestige play. She just took the paychecks and went home. And that should have been the end of the story. Except Hollywood did something it almost never does.
The first time I ever worked with him, actually, I had just turned 15, and I was an extra in Bad Boys 2.
Really?
And yeah, they were shooting this club scene, and they brought me in, and I was wearing a Stars and Stripes bikini and a red cowboy hat and like 6-inch heels.
By 2020, the cultural wind shifted fast. A clip from Fox's 2009 appearance on Jimmy Kimmel resurfaced, and in it, she described being cast in a Michael Bay scene at 15, wearing a bikini and dancing under a waterfall because she was too young to sit at a bar. The clip went viral, sparking universal outrage. Overnight, the narrative flipped from difficult actress to young woman failed by everyone around her. And for the first time, Fox's response matched the moment. She clarified that Bay never assaulted her, but added a line that cut deeper than any accusation. There are many names that deserve to be going viral in cancel culture right now, but they are safely stored in the fragmented recesses of my heart. We'd never seen her be this calculated, and the public responded. At the same time, Jennifer's Body was being rediscovered as a feminist horror classic. The film had flopped in 2009 because the studio marketed it to men instead of the female audience it was made for. But by 2020, it had become a cult phenomenon, a queer touchstone, and one of the most discussed horror films of the streaming era.
That movie was a commercial failure.
Yeah.
And I was savaged personally. And so it was hard. I've actually gone through therapy because of that experience. And now, 10 years later, I genuinely love talking about it.
Diablo Cody, the Oscar-winning screenwriter who wrote it, said Fox took the blame for the film's failure, even though the marketing was the real problem. It traumatized her for sure. Then came the proof. In 2021, Fox starred in Till Death, a survival thriller where she played a woman handcuffed to her dead husband. It earned 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, her highest-rated film ever. Reviewers who had written her off for a decade were suddenly calling it a revelation. The Washington Post declared the Megan Fox renaissance had arrived, After more than a decade, the conversation about her was finally about the work, not the drama. And by 2021, she had 3 things she'd never had at the same time before. The public felt sorry for her, critics had proof she could act, and the culture was ready to root for a comeback. All she had to do was pick the right roles.
Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly made their red carpet debut as a couple at the 2020 American Music Awards on Sunday night.
She still didn't choose a single one, and every project that killed her comeback had one thing in common: MGK's fingerprints on it. First came Midnight in the Switchgrass, the film where she met him. 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, under $100,000 at the box office. After that was Good Morning, co-directed by MGK, which scored 0%, a vanity project that critics called one of the worst films of 2022. Then came Johnny and Clyde, also at 0% with a 2.4 rating on IMDb. It was so bad it earned Fox the Razzie for Worst Actress. And then there was Expendables, which should have been the big swing. A $100 million franchise alongside Jason Statham, but it bombed at just $51 million worldwide. 4 projects after a 90% hit, 3 of them at 0 or near 0. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern.
Craig gave us like ultimate freedom on set. We could literally, sometimes the take would just keep going and we'd get more and more crazy.
And what makes it undeniable is a comparison we can't avoid. After The Wolf of Wall Street put Margot Robbie in the exact same sex symbol box, Robbie made very different choices. She took I, Tonya, unglamorous, physically demanding, the kind of role no one expected from her. Then she launched her own production company and produced Barbie. Robbie understood that the sex symbol label is a cage unless you actively break out of it, and Fox never tried to break out. She took the paycheck roles, showed up in MGK's 0% comedy, and chose projects that confirmed the industry's worst assumptions about her. Fox has been honest about it too. She told interviewers she simply does not care enough to play the game, and you can see it in her choices. She never once took a role that was ugly, unglamorous, or designed to prove she was more than just a pretty face. That's her right. But it's also why nothing changed. The door didn't close because Hollywood shut it. It closed because she kept walking through the wrong ones. And the cruel irony is that the audience never left. Subservience, a low-budget sci-fi thriller she did in 2024, hit #1 on Netflix with over 7 million views. People wanted to watch Fox. They showed up and were ready to root for her. But there was nothing credible waiting for them on the other side.
A soulmate, a twin flame, is actually where a soul has like ascended to a high enough level that it can be split into 2 different bodies at the same time. So we're actually 2 halves of the same soul, I think.
Wow.
And I said that to him almost immediately.
What?
The MGK relationship didn't just distract Fox from rebuilding. It rewired her entire public identity at the worst possible time. And to understand the damage, we have to sit with how strange it got. Because this is the part that turned her audience from allies into spectators. It started with the language. Fox appeared on the Give Them Lala podcast in July 2020 and described MGK as her twin flame. 2 halves of the same soul, she said, as though she were narrating a past life and not a relationship that was only 2 months old. On its own, that's just a woman in love talking, but it didn't stop there. On Valentine's Day 2021, MGK posted a photo of a necklace containing Fox's blood. A few months later, Fox told interviewers they consumed each other's blood for ritual purposes only, her words, and that MGK was much more haphazard and chaotic, where he's willing to just cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, "Take my soul." Then when the engagement came in January 2022, the announcement ended with, "And then we drank each other's blood." The engagement ring was even designed with thorns that caused pain when removed, on purpose. That was the feature, not the flaw. And here's what all of that did to her career. The women who had spent 2 years rallying behind Fox, the same demographic that had shared the Kimmel clip, championed Jennifer's body, and celebrated the Till Death reviews, were now watching her do couples' Halloween costumes in bondage gear while MGK dressed as a priest. They went from sympathy to secondhand embarrassment, and then from secondhand embarrassment to avoidance. Cringe kills career momentum faster than scandal does. Because scandal generates curiosity, people lean in, while cringe generates avoidance, people scroll past. and the collapse only confirmed what the audience already suspected. During Super Bowl weekend 2023, Fox wiped every photo of MGK from Instagram and posted a burning letter with Beyoncé lyrics. Cheating allegations surfaced but were never confirmed. The on-off cycle dragged through 2023 and 2024. Then she announced a pregnancy in November 2024, but broke up over Thanksgiving, reportedly after Fox found material on MGK's phone. Her ex-husband, Brian Austin Green, summed up what everyone was thinking when TMZ asked him, "How old is he? He's in his 30s, isn't he? Grow up." But one move broke the pattern. Pretty Boys Are Poisonous, Fox's poetry collection, hit the New York Times bestseller list in late 2023 and showed artistic ambition on her own terms, raw, personal, and completely separate from MGK's orbit. It was the only post-2020 move she made that actually served the comeback, but one book can't undo 4 years of 0% films and Instagram chaos. However, there is one project that could change everything. Diablo Cody is actively writing the Jennifer's Body sequel. Amanda Seyfried is reportedly interested in returning, and it would be the first project Fox has done in years that has nothing to do with the man who helped derail the last 4.
What does Megan think about his new tattoo? What does Megan think? What does Megan think? And now I'm sitting here in person with you and I'm like, I have to ask you, like, what did you think when you saw the tattoo?
Well, he has like a really special story behind why he did that, which obviously I'll leave for him to tell.
Megan Fox didn't lose her career because Hollywood shut her out. She lost it because every time the door opened, she walked into the wrong room. The vanity project over the indie, the paycheck over the prestige role, the thirst trap over the announcement, and every wrong room had the same person standing in it. In 2009, she refused to apologize and lost a decade. In 2021, she proved she could act, then followed it with 0% films and a Razzie. Then in 2026, she came back pantless with a caption about being doomed. The Jennifer's Body sequel is the last door anyone is going to build for her, and every single thing in her history says she'll find a way to waste it. Drop a comment if you think she proves us wrong. I don't.